awful lot to me. I want to thank, as did John, and recognize Jim Knowlton. Jim came to my first town hall home meeting in New Hampshire about 2 months ago. And I know he didn't know me from Adam's House Cat, you know, and he realized right off that I was from southern New Hampshire. He could tell that immediately, and I think that's what attracted him to me. But after the meeting, Jim gave me a card and said that if you decide to make this run, if you decide to do it your way, he said, I'd like to be with you. And over the last couple of weeks after that, we talked back and forth. And then about a month ago, Jim decided to help me organize in Massachusetts, in New Hampshire, in Maine, as we went from town to town, dream to dream, family to family, to put together a foundation on which to rebuild America. That's what a campaign should be about. So let's all give a hand to Jim Knowlton. Thank you. I'm honored to be here. I still can't say the name. You know, I practiced from Keene, New Hampshire to here this afternoon in the rain. I stopped at 3 McDonald's. I stopped at 2 service stations just so I can get a cup of coffee and practice. You know, I'm not going to even try it, but I am honored to be here. What a nice crowd. What wonderful people. I'm glad I got a chance to come in and say hello. Now, I'm an Abraham Lincoln Republican. Forgive me, but that's what I am. I changed parties 20 years ago. Now this is hard for a Southern boy to do. You know, in the South, you're born in the late 40s or early 50s. You're born a Democrat, aren't you? You lived in Bossier City. You know what I'm talking about. There are no Republicans on the ballot. Zero. In fact, in Louisiana, there's no place for a party designation. Hell, they're all Democrats. Really. It's an open primary system. It's unlike any state in America. So I was born a Democrat, but I will say in defense of my Democratic background, it was very conservative Democrats. I was head of a group in Congress called the Boll Weevils. Y'all ever heard of the Boll Weevils? Mm-hmm. They were 43 conservative Democrats from Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, North Carolina, Georgia, Florida. And we gave Ronald Reagan the majority in the House. The Republicans were terrible, and there were so few of them. They couldn't pass anything. So we met with them, worked out a deal, and we gave President Reagan 43 votes. Every time it was tough, like rebuilding our military, Amen. Like standing strong, like increasing military pay. We were there day after day, fighting the Contras in Nicaragua. Remember how the Democrats used to tear President Reagan up? We stood with him day after day, lowering taxes and having the Reagan Revolution happen in the Congress. I am so proud of what we did, but we were conservative Democrats. We were from places where only Democrats got elected. I got elected governor after 8 years in Congress, and that was a miracle in itself. The other guys were bigger, prettier, had a lot more money. You know, they were all well known. I had no chance. I was the farm boy. I grew up on a cotton farm. I was the farm boy from North Louisiana, and people would laugh. I set a limit on how much money I would accept. I wouldn't take a penny over a certain amount. There were no limits in Louisiana. And the governor, his name was Edwin Edwards. You know, he was 4 times governor. Yeah. He's a very good politician. We'd have a debate, all these 6 candidates on television, and he'd point at me and say, Roemer, oh, he's smart. He said he went to Harvard when he was 16. Oh, he's smart. But he won't take the checks. He can't win. He won't raise any money. They laughed at me for 1 year. I was at 3%, 4%, 5%. But I kept telling Louisiana, this is a state worth living in. This is a state worth paying school teachers decent money. This is a state that needs road. This is a state that ought to kick the corrupt politicians right in the you-know-what. Let's get rid of them. And the last... And we went from 6th to 5th to 4th to 3rd to 2nd to 1st. And in the first primary, we finished 1st, the governor finished 2nd, and he quit. He got on television that night and said, no mas, man, no mas, I'm not running anymore. So I was a Democrat. I went down to Baton Rouge, the state capitol, and found out that in the state legislature, out of 144 members, 138 of them were Democrats. It was a one-party state. There was no debate. No wonder it's corrupt. It's like living in... You've heard of a state that's one-party, haven't you? Wait, I don't know why I spent 5 minutes telling that story in Massachusetts. You guys know, I was in Worcester the other night, and I said I drove through here when I was 16, going to Harvard. At the time, the driver's license in Louisiana was 15. It was 18 in Worcester and Massachusetts, but I didn't care. I pulled up at this gas station in Worcester or somewhere, and the guy says, man, this is Worcester, man, you got to get with it. I've been in Massachusetts a long time, 50 years. I've been coming to this state. I've been trying to get conservative mood started. I've been trying to help build the Republican Party. And I give you my word as Tea Party members. I was in the first Tea Party movement in my state with my wife, Scarlett. We carried a sign and it said one word, action. Action. That's what I want. And that's why I'm in